all his past transgressions. So much for people deserving a second chance. Mallory placed her hand on his, and it broke him out of his reverie. "I wish you would give this a chance." "I have," he said a little too loudly. "You know I have. But the good people of Magnolia don't seem to want to ever let me forget all the shit I pulled when I was just a kid." "Sam, it wasn't that long ago when you admitted you almost got caught peeing in the church parking lot," she reminded him with a small laugh. "You were hardly a kid, and you knew better." Okay, so maybe he hadn't been trying all that hard to morph into an upstanding citizen. But still. "Whatever," he murmured, slouching in his seat and raking a hand through his hair in frustration. "All I know is I have 9 months left before I have my freedom back. Then I'm free to sell the business and go and do my own thing." "You know that would break Pops's heart." Yeah, he knew that, and he didn't particularly like it. But Sam was also a little pissed that Pops had put him in this position in the first place. Getting the inheritance wasn't a bad thing. But the stipulation that Sam stay in Magnolia and run the business for a full year was. And if Sam refused to follow those rules, he'd lose the business to his cousin, Mason. Unbelievable. "He knew exactly what he was doing, Mal," Sam reasoned. "He knew he was forcing me to stay in one place and play by his rules. Rules I was never very good at following. But I'm doing the right thing by him for the next 9 months. After that, according to his will, I am free to do whatever I want with the business." "I wish you'd reconsider." "And I wish we weren't having this conversation. So..." She let out a loud and overly dramatic sigh. "Want to come over for dinner tonight? I know Mom's going out with Colton, so if you don't want to be here alone, you're more than welcome to join me and Jake. We're just grilling some steaks, if you're interested. And it will be an early night since it's a Wednesday, and Jake has to get up early for work tomorrow, so..." And that was another reason Sam resented being here. Everyone had a social life but him. Correction, a romantic social life. Since he'd never stuck around very long in the past, it was fine being a little of the love 'em and leave 'em type. Now that he was living here full-time, yeah. That wasn't going to work out too well for him, and it certainly wasn't going to help his reputation. Something he found out after the first month here. How was he to know Rhonda and Kim were sisters? Yeah, that was an extremely awkward night, and he'd been laying low ever since. Well, he'd been laying low here in town. He'd managed to convince his cousin Mason to drive down to Wilmington with him a couple of times so he could find someone to hook up with who he wasn't going to run into while out on his landscaping route. It was exhausting, and far too constricting of a lifestyle for him. At first, he had seriously considered turning down the inheritance and just letting his cousin have it. But after he had calmed down, Sam knew that was the coward's way out. Like it or not, Pops wanted this for him, and after all the ways Sam had rebelled and Pops had bailed him out, it was the least he could do. No matter how much he resented it. He had been given 3 months to get his stuff in order back in Virginia, but he had to officially take the helm at Coleman Landscaping. Quitting his job hadn't bothered him. It was just one in a long line of jobs he'd had in the last several years that bored him. But it hadn't taken long for him to realize there wasn't much holding him to his life there, either. Sure, he had buddies he hung out with, but saying goodbye to them, even temporarily, really didn't faze him all that much. That wasn't normal, was it? Was he some sort of sociopath who didn't have any real feelings toward people? Or was it strange how he never developed any kind of attachment to a job or a place? Holy shit. What if something was seriously wrong with him? Did everyone else think this about him? Know this about him? Was he some sort of danger to society? "Earth to Sam!" Oh, right. He was in the middle of a conversation.